It has been 5 days of non-stop football in the FIFA World Cup, and of course, we're here. It's just to package those big moments to make sure you don't miss anything. Welcome to the FIFA World Cup Roundup Show on Atlantic TV. My name is Richard Nwaje. On the show today, we'll talk about those big games of yesterday. What happened in all those games? We'll break it down. It was a Messi, Erling Haaland, and one man they call Mbappe's Partey, and we'll talk about that. Also joining us on the show today is our correspondent live in the USA. I'll talk about Pooja, who will give us live updates around what is happening around the World Cup. And of course, we'll talk about those big stories happening. And of course, we'll analyze it together. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the FIFA World Cup Roundup Show on Atlantic TV. All right, welcome to the show. This is time to talk about the biggest sporting stories and the sporting stories around the FIFA World Cup. Now, what's happening on the FIFA World Cup? Some would say this is just the beginning. This is just the group stage, and we're already having very, very interesting games already. And now let's look at what happened yesterday, this morning, Nigerian time. Now, the time difference is a big issue, but if you love the game of football, you have to stay awake to watch those big games and see what's happening. And it happened again where we saw very, very interesting games. Now, yesterday we spoke about one game, talk about the France and Senegal game. And I took our minds back to what happened in 2002 where we had that very, very interesting game. And I spoke about the fact, are we going to have a repeat of, what happened in 2002, the Korea-Japan World Cup, or something different? And yesterday it was something different where we had Senegal play that very interesting game against France. Now, the game started with in a note where many people spoke around the fact that the Senegalese team came with that full pressure, and it happened that same way that the first half had no goal, but in the second half was the time we called the big party where we saw one man show himself where I talk about the man they call Mbappe scoring those two beautiful goals, getting that brace in that particular game yesterday. But talking about Mbappe's wonder goals yesterday, we'll not forget the fact that, he has scored 58 goals for France so far. Right now, he has gone beyond the man they call over Giroud, scoring for France. And when it comes to even scoring goals for his his country and the World Cup, he has 14 goals already, which is a breaking great record. Talk about the man they call Mbappe. He had 2 goals yesterday in that particular game against Senegal. Senegal had to get one back, ended 3-1. But talking about that game yesterday, we'll talk about one man, Olise, who gave that beautiful, assist to help this guy they call Mbappe to get the best of the game yesterday. So it was a big party for France defeating Senegal. Some will call them, are they the African champions? Some will say not the African champions, but whoever you want to call it, it was a very, very interesting game. Shout out to Senegal for a great game. But we'll talk about a man they call Mbappe, who is on real fire. And let's switch to the Norway game, where the Norway game was another very interesting match where many eyes were on one particular man they call Erling Haaland. It was Iraq versus Norway, and the game lived up to expectation where we saw the Norway team prove themselves well, and Erling Haaland was also available to score 2 goals where it defeated Iraq by 4-1. Very, very interesting game, I tell you. And it's a great one for Norway. One thing many critics of Erling Haaland have been spoken about the fact that him not playing in the World Cup. Some have seen that would affect his career. But in the World Cup, scoring your first game is a big win for this particular man, and many City fans, many lovers of good football are very, very happy with what they saw Erling Haaland do for Norway against Iraq yesterday in that particular match. And it's still very interesting. Talking about the two men, we've spoken about Erling Haaland, we've spoken about Mbappe, and one man got the world talking. One man got the world talking. Talk about nobody else but Messi. How would we explain that Messi had a hat-trick in that very, very interesting game yesterday or this morning? How can we explain this particular man going against Algeria, scoring 3 goals, won the World Cup in 2022 in Qatar, This time around, it's USA, Mexico, and Canada. And his first game is having 3 goals. Some call this maybe his last dance in the World Cup. But with what we have seen, some say this is just the beginning. And Messi is ready to write his name on gold again. Messi is ready to prove himself. And 3 goals, the hat-trick that have gotten the whole world talking. Messi is not yet done. Messi is not yet, he has not yet finished when it comes to giving us those great goals. And for many who understand what Messi have done, many are speaking on the fact that the lot of pressure would be on Ronaldo, where Ronaldo will be set to play his own game today against DR Congo, Portugal against DR Congo. After seeing Mbappe score, after seeing Haaland score, after seeing Messi score 3 goals, all focus will be on one man later on this evening, the man they call Ronaldo. If Ronaldo can write his name on the score sheet, if Ronaldo could give us maybe 2 goals or maybe 3 goals, but Messi fans will be expecting a Ronaldo party against Portugal later on this evening, where they will go against DR Congo. Now, look at some of the fixtures before we get our correspondents live with us in the US to join us. Now, let's talk about the games we will see later on this evening, stroke tomorrow morning. Just some few minutes time, we'll have the game between Portugal and DR Congo, where we expect a very interesting game. That will be 6 p.m. Nigerian time. And later on, we'll have England go against Croatia. That will be 9 p.m. And Ghana, the Black Stars of Ghana, will be doing their own party 1 a.m. tomorrow time. And that will be around when we'll go against Panama in that very interesting game, and many would love to see what would happen. But all eyes will be on one particular game, Portugal and DR Congo. Portugal game, all eyes will be on one man. The man who is out to achieve his 1,000 goal dream. They call him Ronaldo, who has played in Real Madrid, played in Manchester United, Juventus. He's playing the Saudi League, and all eyes will be on him. Now, let's move straight to the US, and let's join our own correspondent, Pooja, who is waiting to join us, and let's talk about what is happening around the World Cup. And we'll start up with the games of yesterday before we then move it and talk about what we'll be expecting from the Ronaldo party later on today, where he will go against DR Congo. Now, Pooja, can you hear me? If you're ready, I'm ready for you. Now, I don't want to say good morning or good afternoon to you right now, because I don't know the timing. It's around 4 o'clock Nigerian time. I guess it's still you're still the morning time, morning to afternoon there. But Pooja, tell me, the World Cup feeling, how have it been for you so far?
Good to be on the show. It's around 11 a.m. in the US, so it's like in the morning here, but the sun is already out. The sun is crazy in the US. So it has been good. We've seen good football. Atlanta have hosted a couple of games as well. You know, we watched the Spain against what's it called? The guys from Cape Verde, you know, on Monday. So it looked good. I think the US, the Americans are getting into the feeling now. When I go to the airports, when I go into the US, it looks like there was no, World Cup going on. Maybe because there was no matches yet at Atlanta. But since Monday, it has been everywhere with the magnificent stadium, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It has been good. And the feeling has been good as well. You know, the games have been good. People expected that this World Cup will be a dull World Cup.
And having some network challenges, and definitely we'll get back and talk to Pooja, who is waiting for us, of course, in Atlanta, USA, where we're talking about the FIFA World Cup. And it's a very, very interesting one. He was telling us about what we should be expecting in his own city, where he's covering some games and everything. We'll join him back on the show, of course, and when we just can connect back with him, definitely would have. Now, let's move and talk about something very, very interesting still around the FIFA World Cup. Of course, if we have Pooja, they should inform me, so we'll let him back on the show. Now, let's talk about something very interesting around something some will call it interesting, some will call it some of the stories around the World Cup. Let's talk about one particular man, Thomas Partey. and Thomas Partey has gotten everybody talking. He plays for the Black Stars of Ghana, former Arsenal superstar, and some will talk about what is happening around his, call it his future. He's meant to be in Canada already, preparing to play alongside the Black Stars of Ghana. He has been denied visa, and he tried to appeal, and entry denied. Yes. So Thomas Partey would not be with the Black Stars of Ghana later on this evening, or let's call it tomorrow morning, when they will take their first group game in the World Cup. Now, the man they call Thomas Partey, let's give a background story, is going through. He's allegedly, accused of committing something around sexual abuse, and due to that, he was denied visa into Canada, and up till now he tried to appeal, and what we're hearing is nothing for him, and he will be part of the game, a part of the Black Stars team when they will play their first group game. Now let's go back to Atlanta. Let's join Pooja, who is with us live, and of course, hoping we could just hear him now. I hope the network will be fair enough for us to talk to him, and let's hear what he's saying based on the World Cup, his own expectations, and also we'll see how we can be able to analyze those games that we saw yesterday and what we'll be expecting to see today. He has been very, very talking about several things, talk about around Messi. Now let's go back to Pooja. I think we have him now. Now, Pooja, if you could hear me clearly, I'm sure you could hear me. I hope our network is okay right now. If not, let's okay. I'm sure you could hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's not about the network. It's about
It's what?
It's about the heat, the sun. The phone just went off.
Okay.
So it's very, very hot in US. Very, very hot. It's like 50 degrees Celsius. So
wow.
If you are not careful, your phone will shut down.
Wow. Okay. So let's go on. We're talking about the experience so far for you.
So it's been good. If you go to the Fan Fest, Atlanta had one of the biggest Fan Fest in US for this World Cup. A lot of fans. After the game against Spain against Cape Verde, I was at the Fan Fest, and I must confess to you, I think over 10,000 people were in that space, watching football, enjoying food. And I think when I got into the US, it wasn't like there was a World Cup, but because of the first game that has happened at Atlanta, which of course tomorrow we have Czech Republic against South Africa, another big game in Atlanta. So it looks like the feeling is coming up. So maybe when they get to the later part of it, because in Atlanta we have the round of 32, we have the round of 16, and even in Atlanta we have the semi-finals. So it looks like Atlanta is going to host good game, going forward. So it has been good for me, and the games I've seen on TV has been also good. So let's see what will happen, subsequently. But so far so good. I think this World Cup has been good, compared to what people have been saying about not being interesting because it's in US, Mexico, and Canada.
About yesterday's game, or maybe this morning games as the time might be in Nigeria. Now, I know you followed up the game. I've been following you up on X, and we had Mbappe scoring 2 goals, Highland scoring 2 goals, Messi scoring 2 goals. Now, let's start up with the man they call Mbappe. Mbappe showing himself well after what happened at Real Madrid. Real Madrid not having a great season. What can you say about this man they call Mbappe and the French national team?
I tend to don't understand what fans always look at Mbappe and disrespect Mbappe. This is a guy who has gone for 2 World Cups before now and has gotten to the final of 2 World Cups. He scored in 2 World Cup finals. And if you talk about Mbappe, what he has been doing for Real Madrid, you cannot push him away. He's the guy that we turn, to party when it comes to the World Cup. And yesterday was not even it was just an easy game for him against Senegal, scoring a brace. So for France, I think for France, they have the best team based on their squad depth, and of course the guys on the bench. Look at what happened yesterday. They brought in Bakola, they brought in Thuram, they brought in this guy from the bench, and Bakola even got a goal from the bench yesterday. So this France team, and with their manager has been there for the past 12 years, talking about this term. So if you are not taking France and Mbappe, seriously at this World Cup, it's sad for you because I think they are the one that is based on experience. When the lineup came out yesterday, 7 of the guys that played the final against Argentina at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar started that game against Senegal. Look at the experience in that team, and they have a manager who has won it as a manager, who has won it as a player, and who is going to his third World Cup after being there for 12 years. So it looks like experience-wise they are there, squad depth they are there, and of course they have Mbappe who would love to score goals at the World Cup.
And Erin Highland is another man everybody's talking about. Norway not doing so well when it comes to playing in international tournaments, but this time around they're at the World Cup, and Erin Highland he has 10 scoring form. Call it the first game. Your thoughts?
You can't take anything away from Haaland. This is a guy who has won, highest goal scorer, golden boot in the Premier League. This is a guy who they've said, these guys are not doing well. Norway, if they don't qualify for the World Cup, it looks like it's going to stain his TV. But look at what he's doing at the World Cup. First game at the World Cup, scoring a brace, and of course, getting into that goal chart. So if you're looking for goals, you can't overlook. If you're looking for, that pressure, look at the goal he scored, the second goal. He pressed, and he got that goal from pressing. So everything about Haaland is good, and there's no player in the world that doesn't want to play the World Cup. And when you get a chance to play the World Cup, you put your best on the table, and that's what Haaland did, yesterday against Iraq, and he scored a brace. So if you're looking for goals, you cannot overlook what you're doing from the Premier League down to scoring a brace at the World Cup.
And let's talk about one man, Messi. I've seen you on X with different takes on it, from the hat-trick he scored to the controversial tackle of Messi, where many critics or many observers believe that Messi was meant to get a red card in that particular game yesterday. But the truth of the whole thing, he scored 3 goals. But what's your take around that? Let's start with that particular tackle. Do you think that was meant to be a straight red card for Messi?
I've been putting my thoughts together, across social media platform. I've even done a video talking about, we have to move away from this sentiment. Of course, Messi is one of the greatest of all time. We know what he has done for football, but there's no way you tell me that stamp is not a red card. Forget the fact that it's Messi. If a Casado or an Enzo Fernandez, who has been profiled to be a very hard tackler, do that kind of a tackle yesterday, is going to get a red card. And that red card is very straightforward. When you stamp a player, intentional, maliciously, whatsoever, you get a red card. So for me, from my own point of view, I believe it's a red card. But of course, the referee will always give respect to one of the greatest players of all time. So it felt like it's not, it's not necessary to give even Messi a yellow card in that game, even a red card. But I must confess to you, when you stamp a player and it's very dangerous to the health of the player, I think is a straight red card. And Messi was lucky not to get a red card yesterday, against Algeria.
And finally, let's talk about Ronaldo today. The Portuguese national team will go against someone say Nigeria was supposed to be in that position if you had qualified. we know our story. We know our story. You know what happened? we have been playing today against Portugal. But Ronaldo today, do you think Ronaldo will be under pressure after seeing the likes of Messi, Mbappe score Messi scored 3 goals, the man they call Mbappe scored 2 goals? Do you think Ronaldo will be under real pressure to prove himself?
Well, I don't know. If I'm one of the advisors of Ronaldo, I would tell him not to be under any pressure. Your aim is to win the World Cup. And I don't think the national team should be built around a 41-year-old player. Of course, we know he's a clutch player. We know he's one of the greatest of all time. We know what he can do on the ball. We know the goals he can give. Like you said, when you were doing your presentation, you said he's going, he's chasing his 100 goal as career goal as a player. So if you have that in mind, you don't have to chase or put unnecessary pressure for you for competition. Mbappe have scored 2 goals, Haaland have scored 2 goals, Messi have scored a hat-trick. Is not your problem. Your problem is not individual accolades at this point of his career, because I don't think he's going to come to another World Cup, because at that time it will be 45. So I don't think he can be 45 and still be playing at this level. So what he needs to do, if I'm one of these advisors, is to just just be with the team. Individual accolade, individual honors is not necessary for Ronaldo at this level. What he needs to do is to put his hand as the captain of Portugal on that trophy, that World Cup trophy, which he has not won. And when the debates of the greatest of all time comes to Partey, he's not going to get that recognition because Pele won it, Maradona won it, Messi won it. So for you, Ronaldo, not to win it, it's going to be a stain when that conversation comes on board. So for me, if I'm one of his advisors, I will tell him to take it easy, be, a team player, and of course, find a way to win that title, that you've not won in your career. So, individual accolades, individual honors should be put aside, and the team should be the one to focus on.
All right, thank you very much, Pooja, our correspondent live in Atlanta, USA, where he's covering the FIFA World Cup and giving us all the updates. We'll have him join us tomorrow again, where we'll now follow up on the biggest stories. By that time, he will be in the stadium giving us live clips of what is happening around the World Cup. Thank you very much. I'll keep enjoying your stay. You're looking so fresh. I hope keep looking fresh. All right, thank you very much. Of course, that's a flag there. That's a flag. That's a flag there, and live there. United States of America in Atlanta covering the World Cup for us on Atlantic TV. All right, let's go back to other stories happening in the world of sports and still focus on the World Cup. If you're just joining us, it's the FIFA World Cup Roundup show live on Atlantic TV, where we are filling up the biggest stories happening around the World Cup. Now, let's move from that. Let's talk about our man of the moment. Now, yesterday, I told you that we'll always have that particular man that we'll call the man of the day, the FIFA World Cup man of the day. And yes, we have that man today. And can you guess? Now, let me tell you something. A little story. When I was watching the games yesterday evening, my mind was on one particular person. I was like, okay, preparing for this show, the person should be Mbappe. But after watching Argentina against Algeria, one man came to my mind to be our FIFA World Cup man of the day, and nobody else but Messi. Of course, Messi is the man today. Yesterday we had someone else, and today we have talking about Messi, and the fact that Messi keeps writing his name on gold. When many felt that it was all over for Messi, Messi has gotten himself back and is now doing what many call the goal scoring. Now imagine Messi scoring 3 goals in the World Cup in his first game. And someone said this is just the group stages. We still have other matches to play in the group stage. We still have round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and we also have the finals. So we have a lot of games to play. And for many, this is just the beginning. But we wish Messi more success. Of course, we'll follow up on all Messi's actions on the FIFA World Cup Roundup show. All right, let's move from Messi and let's go to something very, very interesting. What's trending around the World Cup? And definitely that's how we always say our goodbyes. But let's talk about what is trending around the World Cup. And what is trending is what our correspondent Pooja just spoke about some few minutes ago. And we'll look at it critically, where we had this tackle that happened where Messi, look at it on your screen, Messi had to do that very tough tackle. It has gotten everybody talking. Look at this clearly. It has gotten everybody talking. And the question has remained, is this meant to be a straight red card? Is this meant to be a straight red card? And I can tell you, football fans are left in a point of dilemma where many are taking different sides. Even some Messi fans are of the opinion that was a straight red card. And some of them, Messi was lucky. To some of them, Messi's mom did a very good favor, or did him a good favor by naming him Messi, because Messi spoke for him in that particular game. Let's take some reaction from this particular game and this tackle from Messi. And this is from Daniel Melody Umukoro. He said the ref was just being merciful. There is MESSIFUL, merciful. All right, let's take on that reaction. Now, wow, making allow God of football rest now. Yes, allow him to rest. We can't allow him to rest. This is the World Cup. And Ronaldo fans are not smiling. So another reaction around that game. And Pam David said, but that's an ignorable mistake by the goal himself. The supposed red card would have denied the football world this spectacular hat trick. Yeah. So if he had gotten that red card, would have not had that hat-trick. So we had to just accept that. But now we leave the big question around, is Messi really a FIFA boy? Is Messi that man many people call that the guy that, come on, that FIFA loves so much? But imagine Messi getting a red card in his first game and not having the hat-trick. The world would have been talking. So, but we'll ask the question again. Is anybody above the law? That's the question that will be left for us to answer. Also, some would say that was not a straight red card. But if you watch football a lot, you understand that many players have gone down for that particular tackle. Many. Let's use Nigeria as an example. Alex Iwobi, looking back at a game against Tunisia, 2019 Nations Cup, same tackle, he got the straight red card for that. So many players have gone down for that. But let's leave that debate on that day where we'll focus around whether Messi is really favored by FIFA. All right, on the way to say goodbye today is a very nice way. It's a very lovely footage of Argentine fans celebrating one man they call Messi. Now, this was in the stadium yesterday. And look at this. This is just so beautiful. They just kept saying, singing, calling one name. The superstar, the former Barcelona player, the Inter Miami player, Messi, Messi, Messi. You could see the thousands and thousands of fans in that stadium celebrating one man, Messi. And someone will say, what will the World Cup be without Messi? What will the World Cup be without Ronaldo? What will the World Cup be without Mbappe? But one sure thing is that this is the final dance for Messi and maybe Ronaldo. Some would say yes for Ronaldo. And this debate around Messi and Ronaldo, some would say maybe by the 19th of July, in some about 30 days from now, that debate might be finally be over. Or some might say the debate might still continue. Who is truly the GOAT of football, the greatest of all time when it comes to football? And this World Cup is bringing us back to that very, very crucial debate around Messi and Ronaldo. Messi has scored his hat-trick. Ronaldo has his chance to prove himself later on this evening against DR Congo. According to Puja, Ronaldo, don't be under pressure. Enjoy the game. Allow others to have fun and score the goal. But let's wait and see what happens. This is where we have to draw the curtains on the FIFA World Cup Roundup show on Atlantica TV. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for another very, very interesting package. Don't forget, we are giving you a full package. We have our correspondent live in the US who is giving us all the big updates, and tomorrow's show will be very interesting because we will be having the show live from the stadium in Atlanta where we'll be covering one of those big games. My name is Richard Unwaje. It's the FIFA World Cup Roundup Show. See you tomorrow.